The courtroom felt strangled of air. Mia, sat bracing for the moment they'd rip my 8-year-old daughter, Harper, out of my life. Across the aisle, Blake glided in wearing a razor-sharp suit and a church boy smile, the kind people trust, while the truth hides behind our front door, rage, control, and a child tiptoeing past detonations. His attorney slammed a folder and called me unstable, demanding full custody for the father. The judge was minutes from ruling, each tick a fist to my ribs. In my head, Blake's voice kept slicing through. Shut up! This house is my prison and you're the inmate, and the one that makes me shake even now. Your mother is nothing. You're mine to break. The room went cold because everyone knew. Polish can be a mask. A terrified child never is. I'm Mia, and this was the moment I learned my child's small voice could crack a wall of lies. That morning, the courtroom felt like a sealed box. Air conditioner humming, cold lights flattening every face into a mask. I sat beside Harper, only 8, her tiny hand gripping mine so hard it left crescent moons. Across the aisle, Blake, pinstripe suit, navy tie, that model dad smile neighbors invite to picnics. His attorney opened a briefcase and pulled files the way someone draws knives. Then I saw my daughter lift her chin. Ma'am, she whispered, I want to speak. My heart fell to the tile. You never prepare for that line. When a child steps out of the dark and flips the light herself, I looked at the judge. I heard my own voice. Your Honor, my daughter would like to speak. Time bent. Harper stood, voice shaky at first, but every word landed exactly where it needed to. At Dad's house, I move like a cat over glass. I don't let a spoon touch the bowl too loud. If I spill water, he says, shut up. This house is my prison and you're the inmate. The room froze. You know the kind of silence that makes your ears ring? That one. I heard my breathing skip. Harper kept going, no tears, but with eyes holding a memory tight. The bedroom door locked from the outside. So I learned silence. A cup slammed to the table, the cat shoved off a chair because objects should know their place. She described Blake's stare, eyes that don't land on a person, only on mistakes. He said, your mother is nothing. You're mine to break. Hearing that is like being clawed from the inside. If you're a parent, you know. Some sentences are rusted nails hammered straight into your chest. You sit there breathing in around the slow bleed. But Harper didn't only describe pain. She talked about my place, our small apartment, waffle smell in the morning, a cactus I overwater, but it lives anyway. At Mom's, I get to be a kid, she said. I can spill milk and we clean it together. The cat sleeps at my feet. I don't have to count my steps to avoid hitting the ninger. The temperature changed. I watched throat swallow. Blake blinked, quick, like someone hit by sudden light. The judge asked a few questions, not traps, just clarity. Are you often locked in? Yes. Are you afraid to go to Dad's? Harper looked at her shoes and nodded. A memory hit me, the night she called from the bathroom, whispering, Mom, I'll be quiet. Please don't cry. That's the kind of violence that erases the scream because it trains your kid to whisper. People will say, but Blake looks so respectable. True. People like that know how light falls on a lapel, what hour to show up at church, how to smile for neighbors. They also know how to turn their anger volume down when there's an audience, until a child stands up and turns the truth knob to high. And if you're hearing this on a voiceover, doing dishes, on a bus, let me ask, if your kid whispered, I want to speak, would you let them? Would you let that light land where you still blame yourself? If you're angry, keep it. Anger in the right direction can save a child. If this hits you, please like so the algorithm knows child safety is worth seeing. Comment. Tell me about a mask you witnessed. Share, because somewhere there's another Harper waiting for a grown-up to flip the switch. When Harper sat down, her hand found mine again. The judge said, steady, we cannot ignore this child's words. Simple, I heard thunder. For the first time, someone put weight in the right place. On child. I leaned in. You did so well. She whispered, Mom, I don't want anyone to call you nothing again. Right there across cold tape lines and wooden benches, I understood truth isn't the fire that burns us, it's the lamp that leads us out. From that second on, the room had to choose, believe the mask or believe a child. After Harper spoke, the air changed. But the fight wasn't finished. Blake's attorney cleared his throat, scooted his chair, and tried to rebuild the stage. "Your Honor," he said, "children are easily influenced. The mother, Mia, is unstable." My teeth met hard. What's their definition of stable? Not trembling when your child recounts being locked in. Smiling politely while someone calls you nothing. He fired staples of questions. "Have you ever cried in front of your child, ever raised your voice, changed jobs this year?" I answered evenly. "Yes, I cried. Yes, I raised my voice when insulted. I changed jobs to get her to school on time. I didn't play the supermom. I'm human, sweat of worry, stray hair from sleepless nights. But I don't turn my home into a boot camp. I don't tell a child, 'Your mind to break.'" He tried to poke holes in Harper. "She could be mistaken. Children exaggerate." The judge cut in. "Counselor, don't generalize." He pivoted to glossy proof, pictures of Blake at the park lifting Harper and laughing. "Everyone has pretty pictures. I have others, the ones I don't post. Me holding her in the bathtub after a panic spell. A tray of burned cookies because school called to say she ate lunch alone and cried." Their photos felt like trailers for a film they never watched past the middle. Blake sat straight, tilting his head like a man surprised at being misunderstood. I know that look. I lived with it, eyes scanning for errors like a metal detector. "Mia, don't breathe so loud. Mia, don't talk like that in front of her. Mia, don't embarrass me, ick." Small lines repeated long enough turn you into someone tiptoeing through your own life. I told the court, control isn't always shouting. It's a map of silent roads you learn by heart. Opposing counsel sneered. "Any evidence beyond words?" I handed over logs, dates when Mondays after Dad's house were worst, a teacher's email noting Harper's withdrawal, a 1:12 a.m. voicemail, her ragged breathing, my whisper, "I'm here." There's rarely a dramatic soundtrack for psychological abuse. It drips like a slow leak until the wood rots. If you're watching and you feel heat in your chest, keep it. Type this in the comments. A child's fear is evidence. Let the feed learn that we treat a child's fear as data, not curiosity. And if you've been labeled unstable for saying, "Don't do that to my kid," like this video for yourself because you're still standing. Blake asked to speak. He looked at me, smooth voice. "Mia tells stories. She dramatizes." I almost laughed. Yes, I produce podcasts. I know story. But this one doesn't need craft. Its proof is a small hand chiseling into mine and eyes that tighten when a key turns. I faced him, first time in months without flinching. "If this is a performance, fear is the director you hired." A few whispers. I didn't come to humiliate him. I came to unshackle my child. The judge asked the family psych who'd interviewed Harper. Findings? Slow, careful words. Anticipatory anxiety, consistent descriptions of controlling and demeaning behavior. Clear sense of safety with the mother. Terms like anticipatory, controlling, safety, that's science, not tears. For those of you who love data, this was data speaking. Then to me and Mia, any regrets? Yes, I regret staying quiet for peace. I regret believing if I were more perfect, someone else's rage would shrink. If that line touches you, share this. Not to make my story viral, but so the person still self-blaming hears, your perfection can't mend someone else's crack. We took a short recess. I gave Harper water. She leaned in. "Mom, did I say too much?" I shook my head. "You said what's true. I didn't promise it was over. I promised to stand between her and any locked door, no matter what they call me." When the chime summoned us back, I knew we were walking toward the bend, where weight would sit on truth or slide back to pretty pictures. Wrong for telling the full truth? For dragging private pain into a public room? For saying enough out loud? If protecting my daughter's mind makes me the villain in someone else's story, then I'll wear the horns and keep the gate. Because the person I answer to at bedtime has freckles and a stuffed cat, not a closing argument. Here's what I'm taking with me. First, I learned to stop negotiating with my own fear. Fear kept saying, "Be small, keep the peace, maybe it'll get better." No, the only thing that gets better when you shrink is someone else's control. Second, document the quiet things. Not everything that hurts leaves a bruise, but it often leaves a pattern. Monday stomach aches, midnight whispers, the way a child flinches at keys in a lock. Patterns tell a story even when you're tired of saying it. Third, get witnesses who speak the language of feelings, teachers, therapists, friends who notice. We don't heal alone, and we don't prove harm alone either. Fourth, and this one surprised me, make room for grief and grace at the same time. I can be furious at Blake's choices and still want him to do the work. Not for me, for Harper. Supervised visits, therapy, accountability. Those aren't punishments, they're scaffolding. Maybe one day he steps up, maybe he doesn't. My job is the boundary, not the prophecy. If you're listening to this on a commute or while folding laundry and something in your chest went tight, please hear me. You're not dramatic for noticing what you notice. You're not unstable for crying when a line gets crossed. You're responsive, you're awake. And if your kid's whisper has been trying to become a sentence, let it. Adults keep secrets. Children carry them. That ends when we say, "Tell me everything," and then we believe them. What would you do in my place? If the price of quiet was your child's voice, would you still pay it? If the mask looked perfect but your gut said, "Something's off," would you trust your gut? I want to hear you. Drop a comment with one thing you wish you'd known earlier, or one boundary you're drawing starting today. Someone scrolling at 2 a.m. might read your words and finally call a friend, a lawyer, a therapist. If this story helped you feel less alone or made you just a little braver, tap like so it finds the next person who needs it. Share it with the friend who always says, "I'm fine," and clearly isn't. And subscribe if you want more real talk about safety, boundaries, and the messy middle where most of us actually live. I'll leave you with the picture that keeps me steady. Harper in the kitchen, milk on the counter, both of us laughing while we wipe it up. No yelling, no tiptoeing, just a small life with room to breathe. That's the win. Not fireworks, just a steady heart rate, a door open to the hallway, and a kid who knows she belongs to herself. And if asking for that makes me the bad guy in some narratives, well, you heard my question. Am I in the wrong? Or am I just a mom who finally decided that peace without dignity isn't peace at all?